Hi, I'm Dave, and this is Jess. Welcome to the Secrets of Dog Training DVD. Dogs are essentially pack animals that have retained some of their pack instincts despite thousands of years of domestication. One of those retained instincts involves the concept of pack leader. With every pack there is a pack leader, usually a male, although not always, who is obeyed by everyone. The pack leader is also known as the alpha dog, and it makes the decisions for the whole pack. In the wild, the alpha dog will be in prime physical condition compared to the rest of the pack, as he or she will get to eat first and eat the best portions of any food that the pack may have caught. The alpha dog will also get to sleep at the highest vantage point, so that it can keep a lookout over the pack's territory and the surrounding area. Although alerting the pack to danger and being aggressive to strangers is a role that all dogs fulfill. It is very important that you install yourself as the alpha dog right from the start of your relationship, and that you continue to enforce this position through using the techniques outlined in this section. Some of these tips may seem relatively subtle, but they will mean a lot to your dog. Make sure that the entire family is aware of them so that your dog will not be tempted to get above its station. If you do not enforce your and your family's position as being superior in the pack, there is a good chance that your dog will try and raise its place in the ranking system. This is a totally natural thing for it to want to do, but you must not let it happen. While not wanting to be a killjoy about controlling your dog, if a dog is given leeway to do certain things by one person and not by another, then it will get confused as to what the appropriate response is. Your dog prefers to see the world as black and white, rather than shades of grey. Most dogs have an adolescent period from between 6 to 14 months of age. However, the exact age of adolescence varies between breeds and individual dogs. During adolescence, their bodies start to produce hormones that can make them react in seemingly odd or uncharacteristic ways. It is at this stage that they are most likely to try and raise their position in the hierarchy. You must be extra vigilant during your dog's adolescence so that you prevent its hormonally changed behavior from becoming a permanent problem. If you come across your dog while it's sleeping on the floor, then you can reinforce your position as alpha dog by making him move so that you can pass by. I'm not saying that you should go out of your way to disturb your sleeping dog, but if you want to maintain your alpha position and it's sleeping in a doorway or walkway, then you should take the opportunity to enforce these values. When you and your dog are walking side by side, you should never let it go through a doorway first. The superior dog, that's you, always has the right of way and should use that right of way at all times. It's a good idea to make your dog sit or wait while you walk through first. Again, this is an extension of the pack animal behavior that you're trying to reinforce, as in the wild the alpha dog leads the way and everyone else follows. At meal times, you should ensure that your dog or dogs eat after all the humans have. Make sure that all other family members eat first and then feed your dog. In the wild, the pack leader will eat first and get the best parts of the meal, with the dogs further down the chain eating after it. It's very important that you don't feed your dog tidbits or morsels of food without it earning the privilege. If you do feed it scraps, etc., you will just encourage poor behavior, such as your dog pestering people while they're at the meal table. Obviously, this means that you should never feed your dog tidbits from the table, as this can become a difficult habit to break. Another reason for not feeding your dog morsels is if you want to use food as a training aid. You will seriously devalue the status of food in your dog's eyes if you give it tidbits whenever you or it wants. If you keep the morsels and tidbits only for training purposes, then you will get a much better response out of your dog. Ideally, you want to have a relationship with your dog on your terms. A good way of reinforcing this is to not greet your dog straight away when you arrive home. Instead, make it go to its kennel, basket, or another room. Make sure that you have greeted all humans in the household first, have put the groceries away, and are relaxing in your favorite chair. Then, and only then, call your dog to you. Similar to the last tip, if your dog wants to go outside or knows that it's time to go for a walk, make it wait or even go to its kennel or basket for a few minutes first. Only let your dog out on your terms. The obvious exception to this is if you are house training your dog or puppy. Then you should follow the guidelines for house training. Make sure you send your dog the right messages through your body language. By that I mean don't inadvertently encourage your dog's poor behavior by your reaction to it. For example, if your dog is jumping all over you and you react by pushing it off and yelling, then it is quite likely that the behavior will continue as your dog has got your attention and finds it fun. If you notice your dog doing something that could be regarded as poor behavior, it is important that you deal with the situation straight away. We probably all know somebody who has, slowly but surely, allowed their dog more and more latitude with their behavior. A lot of the worst cases I've come across have developed for this very reason. A common and good example is allowing dogs to climb onto furniture. As soon as you slacken off and let your dog onto the furniture uninvited, it will become confused as to why you are now telling it off for something that was okay last time. Your dog should obey any command you give it within 2 or 3 seconds, and if it doesn't, it means that it's either ignoring you, which means your position as alpha dog is under threat, or it doesn't understand what the command means and requires further training. To prevent this from happening, use the alarm no command method. This method has 3 steps that you take when your dog does not respond as you wish. Firstly, use something to alarm your dog, such as a squirt from a water pistol or shaking a pebble-filled can. Make sure that you do this while the dog is in the act of misbehaving or ignoring you. At the same time, say aloud no or bad or utter a sharp growling sound. Use a stern voice so that the dog recognizes the difference in tone from your normal voice. It is important that the voice correction is sincere and that the delivery is consistent, so that the dog associates the harsh words or growl with stopping the behavior. Then redirect your dog with the command. Remember that when you issue a command, you should be in a position to make sure that your dog physically does what you ask. If your dog's obedience skills are razor sharp, then you greatly decrease the risk of having dominance problems. Make sure that you keep at it, and at the very least throw in a few commands whenever you take your dog for a walk. Teach your dog the following commands as a minimum. They are particularly good for reinforcing your position as the person to be listened to. Sit and stay.
Sit.
Down and stay.
Down.
Heel.
Heel.
Wait.
Wait.
Once you have taught your dog these commands, make sure you use them on a regular basis. This way, your authority is reinforced with each command that you give. Use the following stages and the further progressions of the heel command to teach your dog that you are the boss. The first stage of teaching your dog to heel is to prevent it from pulling on the leash at all. You will need to have the collar and leash on your dog. Stand next to and to the right of your dog so that you are both facing in the same direction and the dog is sitting on your left. Start walking forward slowly in a straight line, leading with your left leg. As soon as your dog takes off and starts pulling on the leash, stand still and pull the leash back towards you. Do not drag your dog back towards you. All you need to do is halt its progress. Wait until your dog stops. Praise it and then continue walking. No command needs to be given at this stage, as you are just trying to teach your dog good manners so that it can more easily understand the heel command when the time comes to teach that fully. You should get noticeable results within a few minutes. As always, reinforcing the behavior is the key. With regular sessions, you should notice a dramatic improvement in your dog's leash work. The next phase of teaching your dog not to pull on the leash is to get it used to you changing direction. Remember to always lead with your left leg, as this gives a visual signal to your dog that you want it to come with you. Start with the leashed dog in the sit position as before. Walk slowly in a straight line. If your dog starts pulling on the leash, then stop and snap the leash. Turn around and walk in the opposite direction. Praise your dog when it walks beside you without pulling on the leash. This teaching process should continue for 4 days with 3 sessions per day lasting 15 minutes each. The idea behind this method is that you want to teach your dog to respond to your movements and that there is no forward position that your dog can lead you to. The dog will soon realize that you are changing direction and will watch for your movement before it starts its own. It is important that you do not yank on the leash too hard, as you want the dog to respond to your movements and not when you tug on the leash. But once you've mastered that, here are some more advanced exercises to try. Walk in a straight line for 20 yards, turn to your right and walk for another 20 yards. Keep doing this so that you end up walking around a 20-yard square. Walk again, but turn to your left instead of your right. Then you can try walking a zigzag course between obstacles, such as a tree line or buildings. Most people who own more than one dog have problems with fighting between their dogs. This can occur when humans try inflicting their way of life on the dogs. For example, when a puppy is old enough or strong enough to want to change the pecking order, a tussle usually occurs, and the issue is resolved immediately. However, if humans become involved, they usually side with the older dog, or perhaps their favorite dog, and this can lead to ongoing frustration and anger between the dogs. This maintenance program is like servicing your car. If you do it properly, then your chances of having problems in the future diminishes greatly. Establish which of your dogs the dominant dog is. This should be easy to establish by watching the behavior of the dogs towards each other. Start treating the dominant dog as just that and help it maintain its dominance over the other dog. You can do this in several ways. Greet and acknowledge the dominant dog first. Feed it first, pet and play with it first. Let the dominant dog in and out of the house first. Only give the dogs attention when they are together, and remember that the dominant dog gets the attention first. Discipline the lower dog if it tries to muscle in on the dominant dog. It's important to make the distinction between the dominant and the submissive dogs here, because you should be reprimanding the submissive dog only. Squirting it with water or startling it with a pebble-filled can should do the trick. If you're still having problems with your dogs fighting, then try the following techniques. Separate the dogs when you are out. Swap their sleeping rugs with each other so they get used to each other's scent. Let them sleep in your room, in crates, making sure that the dominant dog is let in first. Similarly, lead the dominant dog out first in the morning. House training is a method by which you get your dog, preferably at the puppy stage, to learn to relieve itself outside or at a suitable place inside. There are 2 commonly used methods of house training, the direct method or the paper method. It is almost guaranteed that if you keep your dog indoors, then at some stage it will make a mess on the carpet. After all, how is it to know where the right place is to go to relieve itself? Follow either of these prescribed methods and, as long as you are watchful and persistent, you should be able to house train any dog. The objective of the direct method is to let your dog associate relieving itself outside with your praise. Use the following technique to teach your dog this method. After your dog has eaten, take it outside straight away. If it urinates and or defecates, then praise it straight away. If it doesn't relieve itself straight away, then take it outside at least once every hour so that your dog has every opportunity to relieve itself outside. Keep an eye on your dog when it's indoors, in between taking it outside. If it defecates inside, then scold it and immediately take it outside. It is a good idea to soak up any indoor accidents with newspaper, then take that newspaper outside to the place where you want your dog to relieve itself. Do not continue to scold the dog once you are outside, otherwise it may think that outside is not the place to urinate or defecate either. Once your dog has grasped that it must relieve itself outside, then you can dispose of the feces. This whole process should take around 2 weeks if things go well. If you use this method in conjunction with crate training, then your dog could be house trained within a few days. If you are using the crate training, then take it outside first thing in the morning and last thing at night before going to bed. For the direct method to work quickly, it is important that you try not to let your dog urinate or defecate inside, as the residual smell, remembering that a dog's sense of smell is far better than our own, will encourage it to go indoors again. There are several odor neutralizers especially designed for use with animals, available from your vet or pet store. The paper method of house training will be required in circumstances where you will not be able to let your dog outside easily. For example, if you live in a high-rise apartment building. You will need to set aside a room, preferably a small one, for 2 to 4 weeks until you get the results you're after. Cover the entire floor of the set-aside room with paper. After every meal as your dog has finished eating, place it in the room on the papers. After it has defecated and or urinated, clean out all the newspaper bar one sheet. Put fresh newspaper over the floor and place the one old sheet on top of the new paper. The dog will be able to locate the old sheet and should return to that spot when it needs to go. When it starts reusing the same spot, reduce the area of floor that you cover by half. Repeat this process until your dog goes on a single sheet of paper. When you start reducing the covered area of floor, be very watchful of your dog so that you can catch it when it is about to go. If it does it on the paper, then praise it straight away. Conversely, if it tries to go on the uncovered floor, then scold it immediately and lead it back to the paper. Once a dog has been paper trained, it can continue with this method for the rest of its life. If you move to an environment where your dog has better access to the outdoors, you can use the direct method to convert it to using the outdoors. Here are the key tips or techniques to helping with your house training or rehouse training. Use this information in association with either the direct or paper method to guarantee results. It is vitally important that you do not let your dog relieve itself in a place that it's not meant to, as the more times this occurs, the more it will think it's okay. This means that good observation on your part is essential to preventing accidents happening. To help with supervision, loosely tie your dog's leash to you so that you know where it is at all times in the house. You may of course tie it to the coffee table if you're watching television, say. But remember not to leave it tethered when you are not supervising it, as your dog may run the risk of choking. It's very important that you carefully regulate your dog's food and water intake. That way you'll be able to watch your dog more closely for the hour or so after feeding, so that you can catch it in the act. Most dogs will want to relieve themselves within 15 minutes of eating. They are also more likely to go when they wake up, before bed, and after playing or car rides. You probably feed your dog twice a day. Leave the food out for 20 minutes, and if it is not eaten, then remove it. The idea behind this is to train dogs to eat their food in one sitting, and gives you a better idea of when they are likely to want to go. Also, do not feed your dog just before bedtime, as this is asking for trouble. It is important that when your dog does relieve itself in the correct place, that you praise it. Let it know just how pleased you are that it has done the right thing, as this positive reinforcement is the best way for your dog to make the association that it has relieved itself in the correct place. When you see your dog about to relieve itself, it can be a good idea to use a command such as hurry up, so that your dog can form the association between your command and its actions. After a while you will be able to say the command and your dog will know that it's time for it to do its business. It is important that you learn how long your dog can hold on before it has to go after a meal. Now this is breed dependent, so observation is your best bet. If for whatever reason you have to leave your dog inside and by itself, then make sure that it has a defined space to stay in. Do not let it have the full reign of the house, as this is a recipe for disaster, or at the very least, a soiled carpet. The best way is to confine it in one room, preferably the one that has its crate, kennel, or basket in. When you let your dog outside to do its business, make sure that you go with it. The reason for this is that it is quite likely that your dog will not relieve itself as it gets anxious about being separated from its owner, that's you. Chances are that it will relieve itself once it gets back indoors. Also, if you go outside with it, then you will be present to praise it when it does defecate or urinate. Make sure that your dog's designated urination area is the same place every time. Do not move around the piddle pad, paper, or whatever relieving place that you are using. You want to make it as easy as possible for your dog to form the association between its spot and where it should relieve itself. It will take quite a period of time for your dog to fully grasp that it must go in its designated area. Your dog may still be leaving the occasional present for you when it's 6 or 12 months old. Hence, you must be realistic about your dog's progress, meaning that you will need to be vigilant and patient. Because small dogs have a small stomach and small bladder, they may need to relieve themselves up to 10 times a day. So if you own smaller dogs, be aware that they may need to go more often. You should prevent your dog from defecating or urinating where other dogs have done their business to reduce the chance of infection from other dogs' waste. The key to correcting this behavior is catching your dog in the act, not 5 seconds later, but while your dog is actually relieving itself. The best way that I have found to correct this type of behavior is to startle it by loudly saying no, squirting it with a water pistol, or shaking a pebble-filled can when you catch it in the act. Wait for 4 to 5 minutes, then redirect your dog to the area that it is meant to go. As the last drop is coming out, reward it with praise. It is vital that you try to prevent your dog having accidents inside the house. If it does go inside, then there's a high probability that it will try to go in the same spot again and again. You will have to be extra vigilant, especially after meal times, and when your dog is indicating that it wants to go outside. Don't ignore it if it is indicating that it wants to go outdoors. If your dog does have an accident, then use a good odor neutralizer to eliminate the smell. If your dog keeps going in the same wrong place, it can be a good idea to use the odor neutralizer, let it dry, and then feed your dog a treat on the same spot. This takes advantage of the fact that dogs do not like to urinate or defecate where they eat. Never rub a dog's nose in its urine or feces, as this will not help to correct the situation. If anything, this will make your dog more fearful of you, and while it may prevent it going in your presence, it won't stop it going in the wrong place. Remember the basic training principles from Secrets to Dog Training. Unless you can correct the behavior within a few seconds of the action occurring, it is pointless to do the correction. Your dog will not even know why you are rubbing its nose in its own feces. If you have a backyard, then consider getting a doggy door installed so that your dog has access to the outside and one room of the house. In fact, confining your dog to one room in the house where it can go to the toilet is a good idea to at least limit the potential damage. If it doesn't already, then consider letting your dog sleep in the same room as you at night. This takes advantage of the fact that dogs do not soil where they sleep. It will also help it to learn bladder control. Crate training is an effective method used by many dog owners to house train their pets, as well as keep them safe from potential dangers around the home. All good pet stores should be able to offer advice with regards to the best size and type of crate for your dog, depending on breed, size and age. Your dog should be encouraged to think of its crate as a safe area, somewhere that it can go to get some rest or some peace and quiet. You should therefore make the crate as comfortable as possible for your dog, putting in some toys and perhaps a comfort blanket to put it at ease. Crate training is not always easy and can take time, so patience and commitment are vital in order to successfully crate train your dog. I would recommend either a wire cage or a plastic crate with a wire grate door. Here are some factors that should be taken into account. The first consideration is the size of the crate or cage. Remember, your dog will grow, and it may be better for it to grow into a larger crate than out of a smaller one. You should ensure that there is enough room for a mature dog to maneuver around and have a few inches of headspace. A plastic crate is easier to clean. Lining the crate or cage with newspaper or old sheets and blankets will make your dog's home more comfortable and make cleaning easier. The crate or cage that you buy should have a secure catch so that if you wish, your dog can be restricted to its own space and not allowed free rein of the house or a particular room. If your dog is easily frightened or of a nervous disposition, then a wire crate gives your dog the best view of its surroundings. However, the wire grill can frighten some dogs, and in these cases, a plastic crate would be more appropriate. The plastic crate is a good option if you are traveling with your dog, especially as it is a requirement on aircraft. Remember to remove your dog's collar and leash before putting it in its crate or cage. There is a possibility that it could be caught by the collar, panic, and choke itself to death. Also, make sure that you do not leave anything else that could become a choking hazard. It's not always possible to keep an eye on your dog. For example, if you're cooking or on the phone, your dog could get itself into all sorts of mischief or put itself in danger. This is a good time to put it in its crate, where it can have a rest, play with its toys, and generally chill out whilst you get on with what you have to do. You could also use the crate if you have to go out for a short period of time, although this should only be when your dog is totally used to the crate and enjoys being in it. You should confine it to the crate for a short period whilst you are actually in the house, before trying it when you go out. Without doing this, you will not know what your dog's reaction is to being confined for a period of time. Remember, your dog is unlikely to soil its own rest or play area, so the crate is a good place to teach your dog to hold on until you take it to its designated area to do its business. This will teach it control of its bodily functions and reinforce the fact that it should only do its business in the designated place. Be careful not to let your dog go for too long in the crate, as it may need to go to the toilet, and if it is not let out, will be able to do little else but go in the crate. And once this has happened, you could find that it starts to do this more and more, and it may become a hard habit to break. The best way to get your dog used to the crate is to use positive association. Get it to associate the crate with treats, toys, or food. It's a good idea to put its food near to the crate or just inside. As your dog gets more and more used to its crate, you can push the food bowl further and further back until it is readily eating its meals right at the back of the crate. Likewise, when your dog gets into the crate, reward it with a treat, as this will help it to associate the crate with tasty treats. Shutting the door of the crate should be done gradually. You should close it just while it is busy eating at first, and then leave it closed for longer and longer periods, so that your dog is comfortably staying in the crate after its meal without getting anxious or frightened. Never try to rush crate training, otherwise you will make things more difficult for you and your pet. It can take your dog a while to get used to the crate, so be patient and understanding. The crate is not meant to be a place where your dog spends all of its time. Having a dog is pointless if you are going to put it in a crate all day whilst you work, all evening whilst you have dinner and get the house tidied, and all night whilst you sleep. The crate should be used as and when you need it, not as a permanent measure to keep the dog from under your feet. When you're using a crate for your puppy, remember that it will need to relieve itself quite often. You should let it out and take it to its designated area around once hourly to avoid accidents inside the crate. Make sure that you take your dog's collar off before you put it in the crate, otherwise you may cause a choking hazard. Your dog should see the crate as a safe area, a place of its own. Therefore, aim to make it as comfortable as possible, with toys, blankets, and anything else that will make the dog feel more at home. In addition, remember your dog always needs access to fresh water, so make sure that this is provided. Never send your dog to the crate as a form of punishment. Also, you should make sure that it cannot be harassed by anyone while it's in the crate. Remember, you want this crate to seem like a safe haven. You will have a much better chance of getting your dog to successfully use a crate if it's brand new. A second-hand crate will still have the residual smell of its previous occupier, which your dog will probably not like.